first red flag wasn't even the insult. It was the silence. Not the regular, passive-aggressive family kind. No, this was a curated, surgical quiet. The kind that smells like lavender-scented betrayal and bleeds through every text thread. Like mold in the drywall. It started 3 weeks before the wedding, at a mandatory bridal vision board brunch hosted in Sarah's Bajan beige condo, where even the dog wore a monogrammed Bodhi, who's the only one who didn't get a printed itinerary. Instead, Sarah handed me a mimosa, Faye smiled, and said, "Just vibe with us, okay?" Everyone else was in matching blush silk robes with gold cursive names on the back. Mine said +1, as in plus fucking one. Like I was some random Tinder date someone dragged in last minute. I let it go. Thought maybe it was a dumb mistake. Maybe the robe guy ran out of maid of honor embroidery thread and came the group chat cleanse. Overnight, I was removed from Bridal Warriors 2024. Just poof, gone. 1 second, I'm reacting to a post about the floral arch. Next, I'm staring at the empty chat like a ghost at my own funeral. I texted Sarah, "Hey, did the chat glitch?" She replied, "Hey, love." No glitch. We just wanted to streamline the convo to essential participants. Still love you, smiley face. Number 2, punctuation. Classic passive-aggressive, punctuationless warfare. So I called mom. Now here's where shit got spicy. I ask, "Is there something going on with the wedding I should know about?" And she goes quiet again. That same eerie organ music in the background, kind of quiet. Then she sighs, says, "Sweetheart, don't make this about you." My blood went cold. She continues, "Look, Sarah's vision is curated, sleek, elegant, minimalist, and your look just doesn't quite match that." I blinked. I look. "You're more textured, earthy. You've got your own style, just not aesthetic." There it was, not pretty enough, not symmetrical enough, not enough filter-friendly cheekbones or Pinterest core femininity. They didn't want me in the wedding because I would ruin the photos. I was stunned into silence for 3 seconds flat. Then I laughed, not a haha, this is funny laugh, a cracked glass kind of laugh. Mean to tell me that I'm not in my sister's bridal party because I don't fit your Instagram feed? "Don't be dramatic," she snapped. "Quick now, mask slipping. We're doing what's best for the photos." That sentence hit harder than any slap. Not for the cruelty, for the calculation. We're doing what's best for the photos. Not the family, not the memories, not the damn love, the photos. That's when something clicked inside me. Some old gear that had been rusting for years suddenly turned like it had been waiting for this betrayal to fire up. I hung up without saying goodbye. I didn't cry, not yet. I just sat there in the dark, watching the cursor blink on my screen like it was daring me to do something, so I did. I opened a new browser tab and I typed "best freelance photographers near me." No weddings, just revenge. When I booked what I planned, it turned into something none of them could have predicted. Because the next time they saw my face, it wasn't behind Sarah holding her train. It was on every damn screen they owned. I didn't sleep that night, not out of sadness. No, that had already calcified into something colder. It was strategy keeping me up. Rage with a clipboard and color swatches. At 2:14 a.m., booked a shoot with a photographer known for making divorcees look like Vogue cover models. His Instagram bio literally said, "I turned grief into editorial.perfect." By sunrise, I had a full plan. Dress, location, hair, makeup, symbolism. Because if I was going to be excluded for not being on brand, then I was going to build a brand it echoed into their curated little wedding like thunder during a champagne toast. But first, one final olive branch. Text to Sarah, "Hey, just wanted to be sure you really don't want me in the wedding party." Read, no reply. 12 minutes later, she posted a photo of the bridesmaids on her story. All wearing white silk pajamas holding matching gold flutes. The caption, "My angel's aesthetic goals only." That word again, aesthetic. They used it like it meant holy, like it erased bloodlines. Fine. The next few days I went underground. No updates, no hints. Wanted the reveal to hit like a pipe bomb in a pottery barn. I went full method, picked out a location with cracked desert pavement and wind-split Joshua trees. Somewhere raw and feral. Hired a stylist who used to work with washed-up pop stars trying to reinvent. Told her I want to look like Vengeance with lipstick. She said, say less. I chose a dress so violently red it looked illegal. Slit to the hip, backless matic sleeves that moved like smoke when I walked. It wasn't tasteful, it was cinematic. Middle fingers sewn into silk. Then came the prop. A replica wedding bouquet, but scorched at the edges. Half burned, like it had been dragged through hell and still bloomed. Symbolism, check. Message, loud and venomous. Day of the shoot, the wind. Was feral. Sky bruised over with storm clouds. And I've never looked more composed. Photographer was quiet the whole time, only muttering. Jesus under his breath every time I turned. Final shot of the day. Me standing in cracked boots on top of a burnt wedding cake I brought from home. Veil in one hand, smoke bomb in the other. He looked at me and said, "This is going to go viral." He wasn't wrong. I posted the photos 3 hours before Sarah's wedding ceremony started. No caption. Just the location tag, not your +1. Within minutes. It spread comments from strangers saying they'd never seen power captured so raw. Shares on feminist pages, breakup accounts, even an art blog that called it emotionally aggressive couture. But the cherry on the already flaming cake. One of the bridesmaids, Emily, the only decent one, texted me during the reception. "Girl, your photos just showed up on the projector by accident. The slideshow glitched. Turns out someone at the wedding venue had clicked the wrong folder labeled Sister Pics. They projected me. Veil, cake, smoke, red dress, fire. In the middle of Sarah's minimalist, white and eucalyptus dream?" Emily added, "Your mom looked like she saw Satan." I smiled. But I wasn't done. Not even close. Because what came next? That's when things got ugly. The first call came from my Aunt Trish. Half drunk, half horrified. "What the hell did you just do?" I let her ramble. It was somewhere between impressed and traumatized. Like she couldn't decide if I just burned down a family heirloom or liberated a country. "Your mother's in the parking lot." "Hyperventilating," she hissed. "Sarah's crying in the coat room." People. "Think you've planned this?" I took a slow sip of my coffee. "I did plan this." Trish gasped like I just confessed to arson. And in a way, maybe I had. But the real chaos started when a guest, some second cousin with a YouTube channel, uploaded a clip of the slideshow glitch. You can hear the gasp of the crowd, the awkward shuffle of someone's heels, and then, there I am, projected in HD across the reception hall, like a revenge oracle in stilettos. The clip got reposted to TikTok within the hour with the caption, "Bride's sister upstages entire wedding with nuclear photoshoot." #icon. It hit 1.2 million views before Sarah even cut the cake. And suddenly, it wasn't just the aesthetic failure. I was the moment. But this wasn't about going viral. That was just gasoline, the fire. That came the next morning. Mom showed up at my apartment uninvited. No knock, just fury and a Nordstrom cardigan. "You humiliated us," she snapped. "Do you even care what people are saying, do you?" I shot back, stepping between her and the living room because I spent 27 years trying to be digestible for your social circles and Sarah's Pinterest board. This time, I made something for me. Her face contorted like she'd tasted battery acid. "You look like a villain." "Good," I said. "Villains get screen time." Then she went for the kill. "Do you really want this to be your legacy? A petty tantrum? Because you didn't get to wear a dusty rose bridesmaid dress." I smiled. Was the kind of smile you earn through ash and ash only. "No, Mom. My legacy is reminding people that you don't get to crop family out of the frame just because we don't match." The aesthetic. She opened her mouth, closed it. Kay opened it again. Nothing came out. Checkmate. She left without another word. But I knew she'd seen the headlines. Knew she'd read the article in Modern Rebellion. That labeled my shoot as a middle finger dipped in Chanel. By the end of that week, photos were licensed to 2 blogs, 1 indie magazine, and a curated gallery for unbridled femininity. Someone even asked if I'd be interested in giving a TED Talk called The Power of Refusing to Fit the Frame. I wasn't. Just the girl who skipped her sister's wedding. I was the girl who rewrote what it meant to be excluded. But the real twist that came when Sarah texted me, "No, hi, no, how are you?" It's just one line. "You knew about Tom, didn't you?" That dear reader opened a door I wasn't even sure I wanted to walk through, but I did. I stared at that text for a full 2 minutes. My thumb hovered over the screen like it might catch fire. "You knew about Tom, didn't you?" Wasn't an accusation. It was a detonation. Tom, as in Tom the fiancé. Tom, the supposed golden retriever human with a chin so symmetrical it made Boris to spell his name right on the first try. Tom gave speeches about loyalty like he invented the concept. I hadn't responded yet when the second message hit. Was that what the shoot was really about? Were you warning me? And there it was, the twist I hadn't planned. Because yes, I knew and know that shoot wasn't a warning. It was revenge for something else entirely. But now the plot had cracked open like a wedding cake with a rotten middle. Flashback to 6 months before the wedding. I'm at a bookstore downtown, one of those places with crooked floors and espressos served in mismatched mugs. I'm in the poetry section pretending to be mysterious when I spot Tom. Alone, not that weird. But then I see the girl, not Sarah, brunette, tall, wearing his hoodie. And it wasn't just the HOODI, it was how she touched his wrist like she'd done it before, like it was hers. I followed them outside. I didn't mean to, it just happened. They laughed, took a selfie, walked 3 blocks to a bar called The Lantern. I snapped a pic of them holding hands, just in case. Never said a word. Why? Because I knew no one would believe me. Not Sarah, not Mom. I'd be branded jealous, bitter, a walking wedge in their perfect wedding narrative. I could already hear Mom's voice. He's probably just comforting a friend. Not that kind of man. And honestly, I didn't care enough to fight that battle. At least not then. But now, how my phone was lighting up like a slot machine. Sarah kept texting. I found something in his glove box. There was a bracelet. It wasn't mine. You were going to let me marry him, and there it was. The misplaced blame, the panic guilt spiral, it's the desperate attempt to redirect the train wreck onto the nearest bystander. Me, I took a deep breath. Typed back, I didn't tell you, because you would have crucified me and married him anyway. Delivered. Read. No reply. I knew her, and I knew silence was her rage incubator. Something in her brain was spinning, fast and hot. That night, I couldn't sleep. Not from regret, from clarity. The kind that slaps harder at 2:00 a.m. than any betrayal ever could. I'd been treated like a liability, a visual flaw, an uninvited energy. And all along, I was the only one who saw the cracks before the collapse. The irony, that firestorm of a photo shoot, whole family thought it was some cry for attention. But it turns out it was the first true image of the whole mess. Unedited. Uneven. Honest. The next day my phone rang again. It was her. But not Sarah, the girl from the bar, and her voice shaky, cautious, but determined. She said, "I think you and I should talk." Her name was Cam. Not Camille, not Cameron, just Cam. Sharp voice, clipped tone. She'd already rehearsed every word she needed to say, but still didn't know if I'd hang up halfway through. "I got your number from the bakery receipt in his glove box," she said. "It had your name on it and the florist invoice, and a note that just said, 'Don't tell her yet.'" Her voice cracked, but she caught it fast, like someone used to patching leaks mid-sync. I didn't say anything. I just listened, sitting cross-legged on my kitchen floor in sweatpants and yesterday's. Eyeliner had that same surreal nausea you get before an earthquake. Everything still but wrong. Cam exhaled. I didn't know about your sister. I swear. He told me he was in transition. Said he was getting out of something complicated. I let out a dry laugh. Tom doesn't get out of things. He upgrades. That silenced her. Why are you calling me? I asked finally. She paused, 'cause I didn't want to just ghost and pretend I wasn't. Part of this, I didn't know. Now that I do, I'm pissed. And I figured maybe you are 2.0. I was. But I wasn't the screaming key his car kinda pissed. So I was operational. Meet me at Lantern tonight. No lipstick, no backup. I don't know why I said that last part. Maybe I was testing her. Maybe I was staging a war council. She agreed. Lantern was mostly empty when we got there. She wore a black hoodie and guilt in her eyes, wore leather and fury. And the scent of someone who'd already burned the bridge and now brought kerosene for the shore. She told me everything, how they met last spring at Corporate Mixer, how he accidentally showed up at her gym, how he spent weekends claiming he was on family business trips. Then she pulled out the photo, not of them, of me. Found this in his nightstand, she said. Folded like he didn't want me to see it. It was one of my photos from the shoot. A dress, burnt bouquet, veil like smoke around my face. He'd printed it out. I stared at it. Something in my chest flipped, like a bad coin. Cam leaned in. I think he was obsessed with you. I blinked. Excuse me? She nodded. He didn't talk about you, but I've seen how he looks when your comes up. You weren't just the sister. You were the comparison. I felt sick, not flattered. Cornered. Tom had been playing a long game, and we were just pieces. Cam looked up, doesn't know I'm here, but he's texting nonstop. He knows something's off. I sat back, thought for a moment. Then I said the words that lit the fuse. Let's ruin him properly. Cam blinked. You serious? Dead serious. You've got the inside info. I've got the audience. That's when I knew what part 2 of my shoot would be. This time, it wouldn't be about me being excluded. It'd be about exposing the rot. And oh, this time, there'd be guests. We planned it like a heist. Not the Ocean's 11 kind with jazzy montages and tuxedos, but the raw, grimy, real-world version, where 2 women with nothing left to lose weaponize truth like it's napalm. The goal? Ruin Tom's carefully lacquered image before he could pivot. Deny or gaslight his way out. Before he could slap a fresh filter on his mess and play the victim with those same blue eyes Sarah used to call Boy Scout honest. Cam handled the logistics. Turns out she'd saved everything. Text threads, voice memos, tagged photos he begged her to untag. Even a screen recording of a late-night FaceTime where he whispered, "If she ever finds out, I'll see you," came on too. Me, charming, right? Meanwhile, I contacted Theo, the photographer from the shoot. I told him I needed one more session. A collaboration. Visual storytelling meets righteous wrath. He texted back 3 words, say less. Thursday? This time, it wasn't. In the desert. It's in a parking garage downtown. Low light, brutal shadows, heavy tension in the air. A place where secrets felt at home. The concept. Me and Cam side by side. 2 women who weren't supposed to meet, weren't supposed to compare notes, weren't supposed to realize they were both being sold the same lie in different packaging. Outfits. Matching. Black suits, not sexy. Surgical. Hair slicked back, boots heavy, mouths unsmiling. We brought props, a torn-up wedding invite, cake knife, a bouquet made entirely of receipts, and in the final frame we held up 2 identical necklaces. Turns out he'd gifted us both the same. Cheap pendant with our initials engraved. Classic. Theo said it was the most powerful shoot he'd ever done. This isn't fashion, he said. It's evidence. We posted it that night with the caption, "The other woman wasn't the problem." The pattern was, we didn't tag him. We didn't have to. The internet did it for us. Within hours, stories spread. Cam's video. Testimony spliced with voice memos and blurry selfies she hadn't deleted. Got reposted on breakup accounts, soft vengeance TikToks, even a feminist law blog titled Consent Deception. And the weaponization of charm. Sarah, she went silent. Mom called twice. Left voicemails that started polite and spiraled into phrases like family shame and eternal consequences. Tom, he finally texted me. Just 3 words. You want. I stared at it, laughed, and then I replied, a front row seat to your downfall. But it wasn't over yet. Because the final act, the one he never saw coming, wasn't just about public exposure. It was personal and poetic. He didn't show up to his own engagement party. That's how the final act began. It was supposed to be a low-key gathering thrown by his college friend Blake. Think rooftop bar, overpriced cocktails, drink lights that make bankers feel artistic. Tom was still trying to spin the scandal, telling everyone we were crazy, and Cam had been stalking his family. Blake even messaged me, trying to sniff for drama. Hey, totally random, but are you like, okay? I didn't answer, 'cause I was too busy helping Cam mail out 67 envelopes. Each one packed with a glossy 5x7 from the photoshoot. Me and her back. 2 back necklaces raised like evidence bags, occluded inside. A QR code. Scan it, and you landed on a Google Drive title, The Tom Dossier. Subfolders, double dates, same weekend love bombing, template StockX, gift receipts. Same necklace, same lie audio. I never said I loved her. Every one of his friends got one. Every ex we could find on social got one. Every girl who ever posted, feeling cute smiling face with 3 hearts under his comments, got one. Cam was nervous. What if he sues? I said let him. We'll win, or at least we'll trend. Then came the rooftop. Okay, we didn't get invited, obviously, but guess who did? It's Jessa, Tom's ex from 2018. The one who went to therapy because he made her think she was too emotional for asking who he kept texting at 2 a.m. She got a dossier, and she didn't come alone. She brought 4 more women. All different seasons of Tom's greatest hits showed up to the engagement party in coordinated colors. Each wore a shirt that read, I was Tom's girlfriend until I wasn't. Someone filmed it. You can hear the DJ's remix of Shallow cutting off mid-beat, then confused murmurs. Then the camera pans to Blake, looking like he just watched a live birth backwards. Tom never made it. Didn't answer calls, didn't post anything. But you know what he did do? He tried to flip it. DM me 2 days later with a selfie. Smiling, shirtless. Caption still thriving. You didn't break me. I stared at it for a long time. Not because I was hurt. I was studying it. Something in the background was off. The mirror behind him was cracked. Slightly, then I zoomed in. On the nightstand, my old photo, the one from the red dress shoot, still folded, still there. It kept it. Cam was right. I wasn't just a threat to the aesthetic. I was the standard he couldn't reach. I screenshot the image, cropped his face out, posted it to my story with one line. He still looks, he just can't touch. And with that, we weren't his victims anymore. We were the frame, and he was just the ugly background. It ended not with a bang, but with an invite. 6 weeks after the rooftop implosion, I got a cream-colored envelope in the mail. Heavy stock embossed lettering, kind that screams I spent $9.95 per unit, because appearances are my entire identity. Inside Sarah and Tomry, a celebration of moving forward, a re-engagement brunch. Same guy, same lies, new narrative. Below the RSVP line it said, let's focus on healing, not drama to hearts. I laughed so hard I nearly dropped my coffee. Cam was at my place when I opened it. She looked over my shoulder, read it, and said, this an invitation or a cult flyer? She's going through with it, I muttered. She's actually going through with it. Cam nodded slowly. Of course she is. She doesn't want to admit the damage. She wants to pretend she chose this. That this was all some graceful evolution and not a full-on emotional crime scene. And that's when it hit me. This wasn't about Tom anymore. Not really. It was about Sarah. She didn't just cut me from the wedding because I wasn't aesthetic. She cut me because I saw through him, because I didn't buy into her dreamscape, because I'd always been the version of herself she resented most. The one who said no, who dressed loud, who noticed things. The brunch invite was her final PR move, a way to bury the wreckage under mimosas and matching linen napkins. I didn't go, but I did send a gift, a framed photo. Me and Cam from our second shoot, standing over the broken cake, staring into the lens like we'd already seen the ending and weren't impressed. On the back, I wrote, "No hard feelings, just higher standards. Not your plus," when she never responded. But a week later, Blake posted an Instagram story from the brunch. Everything white and soft and perfect until you noticed the frame in the background turned face down. And that was it. No confrontation, no courtroom meltdown, just quiet consequences. Cam moved to Portland. She's designing a zine called Pattern Recognition and already has 10K pre-orders. I wrote a piece for it called The Price of Aesthetic, a sister's invoice. Tom, rumor is he applied for a new job and got flagged in the background check because someone linked the dossier in his reference letter. Oops, and me, I'm fine. Better than fine. A magazine bought the shoot. Small publishing house offered me a deal to write a memoir called Framed. How I was cropped out and took the spotlight anyway. But more than that, I sleep easy because I didn't just survive their curated little freeze out. I rewrote the caption. I'm not the family's shame, I'm the damn cover story.